Yo guys, Stringy's here. Today I'm gonna have a little rant about everything wrong with Shadowlands Season 1. So what you guys are looking at right now is Exuname. It's what classes are being played the most, etc. Yeah, I'm gonna go through every single class, every single spec that is played in Arena, down by the list here. So starting with warriors, then paladin, hunter, rogue, priest, DK, shaman, mage, warlock, monk, druid, demon hunter, and just like what's stupid about them, what's bad about them, and what's good about them, and changes that I would make if I was the head lead developer of World of Warcraft. Keep in mind that this is my opinions. You might have different opinions. This is from a DK's point of view, obviously. I do not play any other class at the moment. But I would say I am pretty fair with my judgments. Anyway, yeah. Let's get started. So before I start, I just want to tell you guys, please subscribe, like the video. I make mainly PvP videos, also some Mythic Plus. Made a lot of Mythic Plus videos recently. Maybe some raid videos, and of course Rant videos, and just like PvP in general, which is my main focus in World of Warcraft. But yeah. Let's go. Okay, so starting with warriors. They're not the most played class, but warriors are pretty fucking strong. So no one's playing Fury or Prot, so I'm gonna ignore those. I'm not gonna talk about any specs that are not played in Arena at the moment. So for warriors, they are really strong. The only problem I see is that execute is doing like the execute damage is only like 5-6k, which is fine, I think. But combination of Venthyr and the fact that they can crit is making it too strong. So my problem with warriors is that they crit execute is too big, and they can also proc execute when they actually can't execute. And just Venthyr executes are just stupid. Like they can execute, I think, above 75% HP and below 50% HP. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I think that just needs a nerf in some kind of way. Also, if you just made execute not able to crit, it would actually just fix the entire problem. Like for at least the Curian warriors. The other problem with Arms Warrior is their intervene. For example, I'm talking to like some hunter friends and stuff, and they actually cannot trap for 6 seconds, because they can't get the reflect off. But like that's, you know, he's playing not with a caster, you know, so like, you know, he would need someone else to get that reflect off, which is fine in my opinion. But the intervene itself, you know, like say you're playing versus, you know, warrior or something, right? Misseaver or resto shaman, which is very normal right now, and the warrior intervenes the resto shaman. Now when you hit the shaman with abilities, for the next 6 seconds those abilities will actually be hitting the warrior. I've gotten into a situation where the warrior is dying and I'm hitting the healer because I'm still not used to it, and I think it shouldn't last for 6 seconds. I think 2 seconds is fine, maybe 3 seconds, and then, you know, if they didn't, so if no one hit the person for 6 seconds, you know, maybe it can last for 6 seconds, but then it's only one ability after 2 to 3 seconds. In like 2 seconds is fine, like I said, but like having you not being able to hit a guy with melee abilities for 6 seconds makes warriors like stupidly, you know, like you can't hit his teammates for 6 seconds. I don't know what the cooldown intervene is exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's at below 1 minute, 30 second, 45, something like that, or even lower than 30. But that is just stupid in my opinion, and like lasts for too long, etc. The ability is cool though, etc. Like intervening, you know, it moves you, gives them more mobility, etc. But I think they went a little bit like over the edge on like how strong that is. Okay, so paladins. Paladins have 3 specs that are viable. It's prot paladin, holy paladin, and red paladin. So every spec is viable. Now if we start with prot, because prot is just fucking stupid. Now, prot is an interesting spec, right? You know, obviously, most people think in PvP communities that you shouldn't play tank specs in PvP. I think it's okay to a degree. At the moment, though, prot paladin, the healing, I think the healing just needs like a 70%, 50 to 70% nerf. Like, healing as much as a healer as a prot paladin, you know, healing, usually tanks were healing half the amount that healers was. In BFA Season 4, though, they were healing upwards of 70% of what the healer did. But the amount they're healing now is way higher. They can crit Word Glories for 30k, 22k, like literally topping people. And I just think that should be nerfed. That shouldn't be in a game. Like prot paladin being good with their silence and stuff, sure, that's fine. But the fact that they're just making the games go on endlessly, it's not cool. And yeah, so just nerf that. The damage prot paladins do are not insane, etc. And the CC is fine. It's on the strong side in my opinion. Obviously, stun plus silence plus blind, and can also play repentance. I think it's a lot of CC. But if you nerf the healing, we be Gucci, I think. Holy Paladin, I think they're fine. I just don't like the fact that, I mean, it's a skill factor, right? Holy Paladin, basically, I'm talking about Word of Glory. And Word of Glory, basically, they can sit on 5 holy powers while they're full HP. And then once they drop HP, they can use the Word of Glory, use a Holy Shock, and get another 3-point Word of Glory. So they can get down to 50% and then heal themselves back up to full without casting anything. Which I think is a bit stupid. I think there should be casting in PvP by healers. I think that is main part of it that makes it fun and interesting. The fast cast on Holy Light on 25-second cooldown is like, that is good. I think that should be a 35-second at least cooldown. I've also seen them proccing wings randomly. I'm not sure what that is, but you know, I like wings to be wings, and proccing wings is not a thing. But you know, that's how it is. So you wouldn't really change that. So maybe nerf Word of Glory by like 15% or 10% or something, because they also have that cast, or like increase the cooldown of the Divine Favor cast to at least 30, 35, 40. I think 25 is a bit too low in my opinion. It is purgeable though, and I am a class that can't purge, and I know you can stun it and then have your teammates purge it, and there's a lot of counterplay to it, but I still think 25 seconds is a bit too short of a cooldown. Anyway, moving on to Ret Paladin. So Ret Paladin damage is busted. Obviously, their mobility is low. I know, blah, blah, blah. Can't hit my target. Yes, I've heard it before. They have 45-second cooldown on 1 horse. That grants them 70% movement speed. Now, they have freedom on 24-second cooldown. Like, the problem is that the damage Ret Paladin is doing is like, okay, so it's 3 abilities, right? It's Templar Verdict. They get 1 crit when they pop wings. And they can also get that wings from the PvP talent, where they get another pair of wings for 5 seconds. So we call them small wings, which is a 1-minute cooldown. So they have a 1-minute cooldown, 5-second wings, and have a 2-minute cooldown, big wings, right? The problem is that they can kill you in the small wings, which lasts for 5 seconds. I think their damage needs to be spaced out. So that means buffing Crusader Strike and nerfing Templar Verdict, nerfing Wake of the Ashes. Wake of the Ashes is doing 8k, 11k. Templar Verdict is doing upwards to 11k. And then they have that ability where they triple judgmenting. That just needs a nerf by 50% in my opinion. That is too much. I think also the Wake of the Ashes. No, Wake of the Ashes. The hollow ground thingy. Oh, wait. The blood they put on the floor. The Ventir one, okay? It's stupid. It heals, it does damage, right? It lasts for... The problem is not that it heals and does damage. It does so over such a long period of time. You have to walk out of it. If you're inside, like, no one plays this in PvP. Most people, I think it's the Kyrian one that gives you the triple judgment. I've had like my warrior intervene me, and he died from it because it hit the judgments that was supposed to hit me and him, and he dropped from 100 to 0. I think abilities that do 50% of your HP shouldn't be in the game. So you dying in 2 globals from one player is not okay. 25%, you know, that could be fine, because then it's 2 players hitting you with 2 abilities each. Still is a bit broken, but that's like a combo in my opinion. which, you know, is fine. But how much you would nerf them with, I'm not sure. I just don't think they should, like, I don't know if anyone's have had this happen to them, but you can actually be blinded lighted, triple judgment, consecration on the ground, and then they can like judgment you themselves as well, and then they can kill you in a blinding light basically with all like holy shock you and stuff, like holy pally, red pally in 2s or in 3s for that matter. They can kill someone in a blinding light, because blinding light does not break on holy damage. And then you can hodge them before you template verdict. I think that's what you do. But anyway, so it's just like nerfing that by over 50% would be good, I think. Also, red paladin off healing is too much. I think mainly every class that has off heals should just be nerfed by 50% because it seems too strong. So, you know, red paladin, feral, boomy, enhance, LE. You know, I'll go over them when we get there. But anyway. So yeah, red paladin damage is too strong and their healing is too strong. Their mobility is shit, I get that, but still it doesn't justify this. As you guys know, Vanguard is at the top of the ladder and he's having a fucking field day. But yeah. Anyway, next on the list is Hunter. Okay, so Hunter, Survival Hunter seems fine. Nothing broken. BM Hunter, haven't seen many of those. There are people that play BM in PvP a lot though. Their pet dies too fast. I mean that problem is for all of them, but BM Hunter specifically. So we start with BM. It's like you would reduce the cast time of some resting your pet, because they nerf the rest, but that's because of PvE, Mythic Plus specifically, I think. Taunting the boss, etc. Taunting, you know, like the spires, like if you the season 4 affix. And I think that's why it got increased to 6 seconds, because they wanted to punish people more. I think having it be, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was before, just like in PvP at least, you know, just change that to PvP. Blizzard have the opinion that you shouldn't do that though, change big from PvE to PvP, but I think that's necessary for if BM Hunter ever is going to be viable. MM Hunter, they got nerfed a lot. I think they're fine. I talked to a lot of MM Hunters and they say that like, the problem is that it's so easy to stop their damage, which means like you can disarm it and stun it. It's kind of the same for Frost DK. But MM Hunter, the damage they do, like any way you can space out the damage, you know. You know, I haven't gotten one shot by an MM Hunter yet, but the problem is not the damage, it's the damage plus the crit. The 30% crit you get from the Kyrian. If you just nerf that to 15% crit, because hitting behind a pillar is good enough for PvP players. Like being able to hit people when they're behind pillars is good enough. And just nerfing the crit to 15% so that their crit isn't like above 60%. Hunters and rogues and stuff have 10% baseline crit compared to warriors, DKs, and red paladins. If you guys didn't know. So the increase in crit in PvP from 1.75 from 1.5 to 175 increases those classes like feral druids, etc. Also like Ellie, of course. So yeah, BM Hunter, fine, needs change with that. MM Hunter needs a change in damage allocation, I think. And also just nerfing the Kyrian crit would actually just fix that. I think they've been nerfed enough though. But I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, Rogues next. So Rogues also got recently nerfed. The main problem is that sub is the one viable, right? So sub was one-shotting people plus stunning them. I think still sub does too much damage. I still think they do too much damage. They are CC bots. They have too much CC. You can get a Shadowlands every 30 seconds or so. On top of that, having kidney shot, it's very, 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 very strong. I'm not sure if they got nerfed enough. I think so. But it's, you know, to be known yet. But other than that, the fact that they do too much damage and also having a lot of CC is like, you can't have that in any class. I haven't seen any combat rogues. I played against a couple of assassination rogues. Assassination seems fine. You know, just the way they were before. They would kidney shot, vanish Garrote into a chip shot, and kill you. Or kidney shot, chip shot, Garrote, which is like, you know, 6+2+3 seconds CC, which is a total of 11 seconds, which is really, really strong. Anyway, priest is next. So holy priest seems a bit on the weak side. They could get a buff. I haven't seen many holy priests, but you know, they seem fine, but a bit of a buff. They also go just like this priest, really, really fast. You know, just buff their healing by 10% PvP. You know, doesn't matter to anyone, I think. Like, just people that want to play holy can play holy, you know. Disc priest, they're really, really strong. They go fast though, I've noticed. I think even the best priest goes fast. I think radiance healing should be nerfed though, by at least 20%, or increase the mana cost. But even more, because I think it's stupid that they're not casting anything, and they already have 2 schools with Shadowman and Penance. Other than that, Rapture Shield is too strong in PvP. The shield is too big. It should just be... I think nerfing the shield by 20% wouldn't do anything. Maybe 30%, probably. The shields are, I think, 15k in PvP. 13k maybe. And I think having them around 8k... You know, like, it's kind of like... It's a 90-second cooldown, that's my problem. 90-second cooldown abilities, they tend to just line up with a lot of offensive cooldowns where you can just pop Rapture on it, right? People that can CC the priest on Rapture Shield, they don't really give a shit, but people that can't, they care, and people that can purge it don't care, but people that can't purge it cares. So there's like a black and white there, where it's like, I can't purge it, I want it to be nerfed. People that can purge it, it seems too weak. Maybe just, you know, change it, make it heal for 30% of what it does absorb. But then again, you get into the problem where you're just spam shielding to top people. But then you can increase the mana. Like, you see, there's a lot of problems there. So just, like, nerfing it by 30% is, like, you know... If he pops Rapture Shield, you know, then he has to re-Rapture Shield so he goes faster. But you can't kill while he has Rapture Shield off. It's like, it's a cool ability for PvE, but for PvP, it's super clunky. And it's like, okay, are we just gonna not do damage for 10 seconds? Or are we gonna try to break the shields? And then make him shield again to, you know, waste his mana. You know, that's the kind of sort of thing you think about in PvP, right? But regardless, you're not doing any damage. The only thing that happens is that the priest mana bar goes down, which is boring. But yeah. So those 2 things with Disc Priest. Okay, so next is DK. So obviously no one plays Blood. Frost seems really, really strong. They don't need any changes, honestly. But I think they should just revert the Death Strike nerf, and that would make Frost, you know, being able to, like, not have to run away from a Windwalker. Can actually just Death Strike and be fine. You lose some damage, obviously, Death Striking, but Death Strike at the moment is 20% of the damage taken in the last 5 seconds. Lowest you can heal for is for 5% of your maximum HP, which I think is too weak. I think it's fine that it's not healing for 10% of the max HP by just pressing it when you haven't taken any damage, but I think it should be at least 35% of the damage you taken, which it was in Season 1 of BFA. So at least increase it by 15%. It is affected by versatility, so as we get more versatility, so if we have 30% versatility, it's 35%. It's going to be, you know, 35 times 30%, which is, you know, 9%, which would be 44% of the damage you took in the last 5 seconds, and you can double tap it, which means you can heal back 90%, but then you also have dampening, and you also have MS effects, which lowers it back down to about 60% of the HP. So it being 20%, the problem is that there is MS, like I said, there is dampening, so you're pressing it, even if you took, you know, 20k damage, it's not going to heal that much because of MS and dampening. So I just think buffing that. Frost DK in general is really, really good. Chill Streak, obliterate damage. Chill Streak is easy to get out of with Trinket. I don't think it needs a nerf. It does hit a lot if people overlap trinkets and don't have trinkets though. Obliterate damage is easily CCable because it comes from Pillar of Frost. Pillar of Frost lasts for 12 seconds. Grants you a crit every time you Howling Blast or Frost Strike while you have Pillar of Frost up, and you get Killing Machine proc from that. That way you can get 6. You can hold a proc, press it, obliterate, and then Pillar of Frost, Frost Strike, obliterate, and you can get 7 in total in the so you out of 15 globals you can get 7 obliterates. Not 15, 13 globals you can get 7 obliterates. Which is really strong. They're hitting for about for me without any cooldowns, hitting for 3.5k. With all my cooldowns up, they are hitting up to 4k, I think, 5k. I think that's a fine place for them to be. Obviously, it can be more if you have full mastery gear. Obviously, I don't have all the best gear yet, etc. So it might change. So yeah, next is unholy. So unholy has problem with other class. Every other class is out damaging them, consistent damage, and their burst is lower than every other class in the game. And they also have the lowest CC out of every other class in the game. They do have 6 interrupts to cast, but healers do not need to cast to heal. Obviously, you can use 6 interrupts to stop CC, but people do not need to be CC'd anymore to be killed. As I will talk about later, because every single class in the entire game can one-shot you, apparently. I think, as well, for Unholy, obviously, Death Strike on nerf. And I think, actually, you do not have to buff their damage if they just get Strangulate. If you don't want to give them Strangulate, you would have to buff their damage by at least 20% in PvP. Obviously, this is only PvP because they're already strong in PvE. Now, my favorite buff would be buff to Apocalypse. I don't think Unholy Assault is... I mean, I don't know. Unholy, you could... I mean, you had to buff at least Apocalypse. Remove the damage from the pets and make it into the main thingy, and then buff it. Make it so Apocalypse at least does upwards to 6 to 7k damage, in my opinion. That's the ability's range, I think. At the moment, it's doing 2k, for the guys that don't know. It also does another 2.4k with the 4 wounds that you pop. Which is burst as well, of course. So it's doing a total of 4.5k at the moment. Which I think is on the weak side. The pets that you spawn, if you do not play with the PvP tiles that reduce the cooldown of it, makes it, I think they do about 5k over 15 seconds, which is makes the total damage of Apocalypse obviously do 10k or so. The problem is that the pets in PvP get CC too easily, and the damage is over too long of a period, so it doesn't actually do anything. So that is my opinion about Apocalypse and Unholy. The only thing that to know is that, like, you can also buff Necrotic Strike. I think Unholy DK needs in PvP a revert of what happened in PvE. The thing is that you're probably not gonna play really high mastery in PvP. So I don't think that matters, but I think all their damage, because their damage comes from pet, and you can, so you have to keep in mind that Unholy Blight is useless in PvP. And the reason it's useless is that it's dispellable. So if you made that undispellable, that would make it better. Or you would just have to, like, you know, buff all their damage by 20%. I think, like Shadow Strike, Shadow Claw, the Festering Wound popping, Fester Strike. Like, even buffing it by 20%, you're still gonna do less damage overall by Shadow Priest and Warlocks and stuff. But you're gonna do a little bit more burst. And you can actually, because the thing about Unholy right now is that I noticed that the only way to really kill people is Soul Reaper. Also, Soul Reaper needs to not be able to be dispelled in PvP. That's a big thing, because if you can actually, as Unholy, can get people below 35% HP, that's a fun playstyle in my opinion. And then have the Soul Reaper execute happen. I think that's a really cool playstyle for Unholy, and I think you could do that. Also, yeah, just make it undispellable, because at the moment it lasts for 5 seconds, right? Cooldown is 6 seconds. And what happens is that I try to Soul Reaper, then I asphyxiate them, then they dispel before I asphyxiate them. I could stun them, Soul Reaper, but then the problem is that it's 5 seconds after that, so there's 3 seconds left of the stun now. Then I pet stun them, and it will still be 1 second left of the Soul Reaper when my pet stun ends, even if my pet is enraged. So, you know, just like, you know, buffing Apocalypse. By making it do upwards to 7k in PvP, 7 to 8k, buffing Shadow Claw, Festering Wound damage, or just buffing Necrotic Strike, making it do, I think, I'm not entirely sure on the math on that, but I mean 6% at least, maybe 7%, and if that's not, you know, 8, you know, whatever. But Necrotic Strike doesn't even do more damage with the absorb effect than, you know, the Shadow Claw, which is stupid. Okay, next class is Shaman. So we have Enhancement Shamans, and we have Resto Shamans and Ellie Shamans. Now, Resto Shamans are good. I don't think they need a buff or a nerf. They only got nerfed though. I think they're fine. There's nothing stupid about them, honestly, in my opinion. They're completely fine, honestly. You could change Riptide Healing into Healing Wave Healing, for example, for PvP. You know, like I said, I like healers to have to cast. But other than that, they're completely fine. Okay, next is Enhancement Shaman and Ellie. So Enhancement Shaman, the only thing that I think is stupid is the Chain Harvest. The Chain Harvest, I don't know, nerfed by 50%. Both the healing and the damage. Their burst damage and stuff I think is fine, except for Chain Harvest. The only other thing is like their off healing is too strong. I think all off healing should be nerfed by 50%, so that includes Enhancement Shaman off healing. I don't think it has a place in the game in the PvP. Because they don't go and like the healing they do is like, it might not be overall high at the end of the game, but like having you be able to heal for like 10k, or like 6k, like twice while you're playing, like while your healer is CC'd or whatever, like I've had games in 2s versus double DPS, like Feral Druid, Windwalker, or Enhancement Shaman, you know, like where I can't kill them. Because, like, I've gotten them literally to 1% HP. And then they did one, like, instant regrowth. He got back to 30%. Then another one. Like, the enhancement, like, you know, like, another 30%. And suddenly he's full HP. And they're trying to kite. And they're trying to avoid damage. Then I'm getting on them again. And I'm out of cooldowns. And every time I do 20% of his HP, he heals 20% of his HP back. I don't think that should be a case. I think that's way too strong. Double DPS in PvP should only have a couple of goes and not being able to just like tank your damage when you don't have cooldowns up. And then, yeah, I think that's stupid. So Enhancement Shaman, nerf healing, and nerf Chain Harvest to the ground in PvP at least, because it's literally one-shotting people and healing their own team to full HP, which is stupid. Next is Ellie Shaman. Ellie Shaman is fine overall. The problem is that I think the Echoing Shock makes their lava burst hit like 4 times. Same with Stormkeeper, hits like 6 times total or something. Like Stormkeeper without this echoing thingy is doing enough damage, but with it, it's literally like, it's 3 globals. It's lava burst, lightning bolt. Like I was just playing some 3s today, for example, and you know my healer's full HP. The Ellie Shaman flame chokes him. It does the echoing thingy, cast Stormkeeper. Lava burst, lightning bolt, he dies. And the lightning bolt, the lava burst is in the air as the lightning bolts hit. So for him it's only 2 globals to rank, and 2 globals is too little. I mean, you can see him targeting you, and you can be like, I need to PS this, but like, PS? Like what? You need to be able to cast. Like, yeah, he has to Rapture Shield every 90 seconds, and it's the Stormkeeper is a 1 minute cooldown. It's like, that doesn't make sense. That's just too strong. I don't know what you do, like echoing, like nerf it by a lot. I think it should take at least 4, 5, 6 globals to be able to kill someone. And that's 2 burst in my opinion. So I don't know what you would do with that. Obviously, LE Shamans are strong right now with their burst. But I think that burster needs to be nerfed. I'm not an expert on or like all the changes on Shaman. Specifically LE Shaman. Next is Mage. So we have Arcane Mage. They blink around a lot. It's annoying, but you know, it's Arcane Mage. I think that's fine. Their burst isn't too hard from what I've noticed. I think it is fine. Fire Mage burst obviously insane with Combustion, but Combustion is a long cooldown, and then you can easily like overlap defensive ones with Combustion. Fire Mage also seems fine. Frost Mage, I haven't noticed people complaining about Frost Mage slowing you to oblivion. So Frost Mage seems fine as well. The only thing is like the pod. I do not like the pod. A lot of mages play the pod. That's why I'm bringing this up right here. The pod, obviously, first of all, fix the fucking health bar. Second of all, disable it in arena. Just don't let the pod exist in arena. In my opinion, it has no place in arena. Obviously, you can have someone die, then you can have a rogue triple cheap shot the entire team and have the pod live. So, I mean, you could do that, but I don't like it. I don't like the mechanic in arena. You know, first of all, fix the health bar. Second, I would just remove it from arena. Next is Warlock. Affliction Warlocks, very, very strong. Their damage is fine, I think. The problem is UA Dispelling. I think UA Dispelling should max to 4k damage, and it should not be able to crit. Right now, it does about 6 to 7, 8k, depending on if they're cools up or not. And it can crit for 16k if you dispel it. And I think 8k is too much. I think that the 4k plus silenced is fine. Because you have 8-second cooldown on your dispel, you have to remember that. Like back in the day when affliction was viable, this wasn't really a problem. And it's never done this much of your percentage HP before. So I think 4k is fine. Just make sure like the UA dispel is like almost a flat 4k in my opinion. Obviously you have Mistweaver with hard counter Affliction Warlock because you have these orbs. And no one plays Mistweaver, so maybe that's why it's kind of confusing. And therefore Affliction Warlock is so strong. But I think Affliction Warlock is strong enough to the point where if you nerf that, they're still fine. Also, the Drain Life thingy where they get 50 stacks, I think that's fucking stupid. It does give them burst though, so I think it's fun for the Affliction Warlocks. I'm not entirely... Like, Affliction Warlock doesn't one-shot people, they just rot people, right? They make their healer go and stuff. And... I mean, it's a fun playstyle. I think, other than UA Dispel, Affliction Warlock is fine. I think the fact that they have Portal Coil and Gate Wave makes them really, really tanky because they can kite so easily. And then they also have Coil and Shadow Fury, I think. And they also have that 60% slow legendary. I think the 60% slow legendary should be changed to 30% slow in PvP. But it's not necessary, I would say. Next is Monk. Windwalker is broken. They probably need nerfs to Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury and stuff. But the problem is that how much do they nerf? Like, I think Windwalker should burst in their Fist of Fury and like Rising Sun Kick combo and stuff. But like their consistent damage is off the roof, and their burst. It's like if you buff DK by and hold DK by 50%, plus gave them a parry every single time they press Death Coil for 1 second, that's Windwalker right now. If you're gonna compare those two classes, they also have teleport, a lot of mobility, and then they have extra mobility with that. Like they punch and then they leap like 10 yards or something, 5 yards. I don't know. Maybe make that longer cooldown on it because it feels like. I mean, they can do it on one person and they can do it on another person. That's like an eternal cooldown on each person, I think, which is really, really strong. I do think Windwalker needs a nerf though when it comes to damage. I don't know how much. I think at least 10% in PvP. All their damage. But yeah. Brewmaster obviously no one plays that. Next is Druid. So Druid, if you start with Resto is really, really weak. I think resto druids need 10% flat healing increase, at least 5%. Maybe they'll be fine when you have higher item level gear and games like people have higher verse and higher like the secondary stat. So be verse plus something else. At the moment, it seems like resto druids are too weak, in my opinion. Yeah, they just need a healing buff. I hate playing against druids myself as a DK, but like, holy shit, they heal for nothing, man. Like, you can kill a druid while they're healing. While they're not CC'd, you can get killed. But maybe that is, like, if you tune down all the other classes, it would be fine. But, like, as things are right now, I would, like, if you didn't change the game at all, I would want to buff them by 15% to 10%. If you're going to nerf other classes, I think you would at least 5%. And if they are still weak when they're fully geared, nerf them by another 5%. But yeah. Boomkins are broken, but that is only their Night Fae ability. I think the Night Fae ability, I've gotten hit by 100k. One Boomkin did 100k in 2 seconds. I think the cast time is 4 seconds, but he had 100% haste. He got PI'd, he was a troll. So he had like amplifiers, plus he popped Incarn. I don't think it's okay for it to do 100k damage, which is basically all 3 of our HP bar. So basically he one-shotted us, all of us. And what happened was that, you know, I got beamed in the root. My healer got CC'd. And yeah, we all just died instantly, which is not okay. I don't think any class in the entire game should be able to do that, regardless of how easy it is to interrupt it. I know it's easy to interrupt Convoke. I know it's easy. You know, you trinket the root, you walk out of the solar beam, and you grip him with Death Advance up, right? That's what I would do. But there are classes and combos where you can CC the entire team. And I don't think, like, you know, if it did 30k to one player, you know, still very, very strong. But it did 100k. I mean, if there's RNG in it, make it less RNG, make it do maybe 15k damage, you know, and then they can double Star Surge afterwards. But like Star Surge in itself is just doing a lot of damage. But I think Convoke damage should be at least nerfed by 50%. Then if it's possible to do 100k or change the way it works, so there's less RNG in there, and make it do like a maximum damage of 30k in PvP throughout the Convoke. Because it is easy to stop it, I understand that, but you shouldn't be able to just press one button and kill one player or an entire team for that matter. So just, you know, nerf it to the ground to the point where it's not viable in PvP, or, you know, in a way that, like, I mean, obviously, like, you can bring someone alone, stun them, have them not have trinket, and press it and kill them. That's fine. You know, if they have a damage reduction like bark skin or something, and they press that before you stun them, then they live. But if they don't, they die. You know, that kind of thing is a little bit counterplay to it, but this kind of stuff feels a bit out of place. Even if there is counterplay to it, doing 100k damage over 2 seconds is insane. Yeah. Other than that, I think Star Surge is doing a bit too much damage. Maybe a 10% nerf at least. I know that's the Boomkin damage. Also nerf Boomkin off healing. I don't think you need to nerf Boomkin's damage. But I think they're a little bit on the strong side. Especially when it comes to Star Surge. Like, because they have so much consistent damage as well. They're above every other class in consistent damage. Even the Affliction Warlock, I think. Feral Druid, I think is fine. Just their off healing is too high. I mean, they got a lot of abilities. They got Vortex. They got, I don't think they have Typhoon, but maybe they can get it if they have like Boomkin Infinity. Their Burst, though, with Ferocious Bite, have seen to do too much damage on the beta. I haven't played against that many Feral Druids, so I'm not entirely sure. But I think hitting anything above 10k with Ferocious Bite is a big no-no. So if it's doing below 10k, around the 8k, the problem is that you can double bite people. Yeah, I don't know about Feral, honestly. I mean, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Just, if bite is not one-shotting people, it's fine. But their off-healing, I know, is broken, so I would nerf that. Next is Demon Hunter, Havoc Demon Hunter, which is the last one. Havoc Demon Hunter, the only problem is the hunt. The hunt is doing too much damage. And I feel like they over-nerfed Demon Hunter. I think their passive healing being nerfed was fine. Because I think that's silly, having so much passive healing to yourself. But on the other side, I think nerfing Blur was stupid. I think Blur should just maybe be similar to Astral Shift. Obviously Blizzard wants to, change stuff. Every class is unique. They're all like, you have evasion, 100% dodge. You have parry, which is 100% parry. Evasion doesn't give damage reduction, parry does. Blur is in the middle of those two. It gives damage reduction and dodge chance. So it's really good against melee, but not very good versus casters. And also if you get stunned by a rogue, etc., it's not very good either, because only 20% damage reduction. I think it should be 35% damage reduction. I think the dodge chance should not be above 30%. Darkness, make it a 2-minute cooldown instead of 3 minutes. And I think I'm not sure about buffing Demon Hunter damage. The reason why I say this is because I played against Demon Hunters and they did damage. They had on the hunt, and then they did consistent damage, and they have an MS effect now. So I'm not sure. I don't think Demon Hunter is as weak as people think, but that's only because I played against a Demon Hunter 3 times over, and it didn't feel like. I mean, obviously DK is weak, but I mean it felt stronger than DK, if that makes sense. But a warrior versus Demon Hunter, I'm not sure how that matchup goes. So maybe buff their damage by at least 5%. But that one I'm not entirely sure. And like, if you look at the graph on Demon Hunter, like almost no one plays Demon Hunter. And it's like same with Feral Druid. There's not that many Feral Druid. There's a lot of balance, as you guys can see. A lot of fire, a lot of shadow, a lot of elemental, affliction, MM, frost, arcane. Very little Destro, BM, Demo. Outlaw, Fury, Demon Hunter. Like I faced 1 Fury Warrior. I faced 3 Demon Hunters. Couple of Frost DKs, more than Holy DK right now. I think they're all switching over. Not that many Ferals, not that many Enhance. Windwalker, Retribution, Sub, and Arms is what I've been playing against most of the time. Anyway, that's all. Again, remember, these are my opinions. I cannot change anything in the game. Some of my opinions might be skewed, might not be. I believe I have a great overview over the game, except for stuff that I can't see played, obviously. And so lastly, I just want to say, like, to the Blizzard, if any of the Blizzard employees ever watches this, like the people that do this designing and classing and stuff, I would recommend just like not talking to the top players, but watch what happens in the games and maybe talk about what happens in the game, and like get an understanding. And also like when do people get frustrated in arena, when do they not get frustrated? Like a good example is versus affliction, not affliction, like Destro Warlock. Getting Shadow Fury into coiled into Infernal Stun is really, really annoying because it's one CC after the other, and then you can get triple failed on top of that. And it's like right now that doesn't feel like it's in the game. And it feels fun. The problem right now is just that the one shots, like I think there should be like a rule where like 4 seconds or whatever. Obviously I have a strong opinion that Unholy DK is very, very weak. Every other Unholy DK that I know that play DK agrees with me. I have talked to my friends and they've never played with a DK or against a DK. And they're jokingly saying that Unholy DK specifically is not weak. But obviously they haven't played against it. I haven't played with it. I've played with my teammates and they were like, wow, okay, yeah. But that being said, in 3v3, because every other class is so strong and has so much burst, I can still kill stuff as an Unholy DK in PvP. And at the end of the score screen, we do the same damage. But I felt like I did nothing in the burst when you did the CC. Everyone was 100% HP, you know, before and etc. And it's important to understand like what is damage that kills and what is damage that drains mana bars. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is a very, very long rant. Hope you guys liked it. And hopefully we get some changes soon. Yeah. I love PvP, you know. I'm gonna play the game. Peace.